Hey guys, today's a snow day, so I'm going to show you how to do absolute value inequalities. It's going to be easy and problems today. So what I want you to see is I want you to look at this and you need to know what the sign means. First of all, absolute values is the distance number is from zero. So the distance is always positive, so again, the number is always positive. So what I have highlighted here, I have less than and less than or equal to. They're and inequalities, okay? That's what we're going to be using when we have an absolute value problem with less than or equal to, okay? And just to reiterate the absolute value point, if absolute value of 3 is 3, absolute value of negative 3 is also 3, which is why the distance is we have to accommodate for negative numbers and positive numbers, okay? This this lesson will probably be in two parts just because I have a record limit of 15 minutes. Okay, so just as a reminder for and problems, your and problems looks like, let me grab my drawing tool. Looks like this, okay, where there's a small number on the left, x in the middle, and a big number on the right. Your inequalities are either less than or equal to. In other words, they're both pointing to the left, okay? So, anytime you have an absolute value inequality with a less than or equal to symbol, oops, that's a highlighter, you have an and compound inequality on your hands, okay? So we're going to have to do this and deal with this in a certain way, okay? So first of all, what you're going to do is you're going to write the inequality exactly the way that you see it without the absolute value, okay? So first you determine whether it's an and problem or an or problem. All right, once the absolute value is by itself on the left, you determine whether it's an and or an or problem. And then you do this first step. The first step is always the same. You just remove your absolute values bars. So without the absolute value bars, you have p plus 3 is less than 6. Okay, that's your first step. And your second step is to do this. You write the left-hand side without the absolute value bars. So you have p plus 3. However, you need to, for the other side, you need to flip your inequality. So instead of a less than, you're going to write greater than. And instead of having a positive 6, you're going to put a negative 6. The reason that you're doing this is you are accounting for the scenario where the absolute value is negative 6. Okay. So that's your first step, is to remove your absolute value and write it exactly how it is. The second step is to write the left-hand side without the absolute value bars, flip your inequality, and change your sign. These are going to be the first two steps for all of these problems once you get the absolute value by itself on the left, okay? So, you're just going to solve these two problems like you normally would, okay? So I am going to drop my line down and solve this equation that's over here on the left. In order for me to do that, I have to get p by itself. This is my variable side. This is my number side. Okay, so I'm going to circle that plus 3. Bring down my p. Less than, bring down my 6. Now instead of a plus 3 on the left, you bring it over to the right as a minus 3. Okay. So you bring down your p, less than, and you have 6 minus 3, which is 3. Okay. That's the first side. You're going to do the same thing to the side over here. Okay, variable side on the left, numbers on the right. On the left-hand side, you're going to get rid of that plus 3. So the p comes down, the inequality comes down, and your -6 comes down. That plus 3 on the left comes over to the right as a -3. And then it's p greater than, and -6 minus 3 is -9. Okay? So if you had a 3 in there or a -9 in there, it would give us the answer, the correct answer. Okay? But I told you this problem is an AND problem. Okay? Since it's an AND problem, you're going to have to set it up like an AND problem, which means, let me take this. I'm going to change my color just to illustrate this to you. You take the smaller number, and you put it on the left. So the smaller number here is -9. Your x goes in the middle, and your bigger number goes to the right. Okay? You are always keeping your inequalities pointing to the left. So, and it makes sense. See, it's pointing to the -9 here and open towards the p, and it's still oh, it's not an x, I'm sorry, it's just a p. And it's open towards the p here. It's pointing to the p, open to the 3. But basically, if you remember to point your arrows or your inequality symbols to the left, you're going to get the correct answer. That's how you solve it. They also ask you to graph. When you're graphing and inequalities, oops, this is a +3, so I have to, let me just fix this. I didn't realize. So we have -9, -6, -3, 0, and 3. And if we were graphing this, which we are, they're open circles above -9, open circle above 3. And if your p is in the middle, you shade in the middle. So that is your answer and your graph. Okay, we're going to try it again. Sometimes it's going to look like this. Okay, so you have your absolute value by itself on the left. You have a less than symbol, which means it's an AND problem. Okay. So your first step, again, is always to write this here without your absolute value symbol. So you have a over 5 less than 1. Okay. Your second step, after the absolute value is by itself on the left, is to write it without the absolute value bars. So a over 5. Flip your inequality and change the sign. Okay. This is a divided by 5. So to solve for a, all you have to do is cross multiply. So we're multiplying 5 times 1, which gives us 5. You bring your a down and your less than symbol down. Okay. Over here on the right, you're going to cross multiply again. So you're going to put the product on the right. So 5 times -1 is -5. Bring down your a and bring down your inequality. Okay, so now a is by itself. We just solved it. We have to set this up like an AND inequality. So Remember, your small number is on the left, so your small number is -5. Your inequalities are always pointing to the left, so less than. A is in the middle, variable is always in the middle. Another inequality, and the big number is 5, so 5 goes on the right. So here we are. It's asking us to graph. It's an and problem, so you draw your graph. I have -5, 0, and +5. I'm going to change my color just so we don't get confused. Open circle over -5, open circle over +5, and A is in the middle, so you shade in the middle. And that's your answer. Okay. There's 2 more example problems. I'm going to stop this now so I could put them both on the same video. So I'll be right back with another video.